Hello and welcome to Cull the Weak. I'm Brobnar89.
I'm Shaka.
And this week we're going to be looking at another Keyforge Premier League game. This week, a face-off between Dave C. or Dave Cordero. I got a very thorough pronunciation guide for that. Thank you, Dave. And Vaftss. Dave is playing for Reap Out. Vaftss is playing for United Archons Prime. Shaka, you want to take us away with a look at Vaftss decks here?
Sure thing. First up, we have Savagely Abandoned Puralis. Looks like this deck has been used a lot. It has 16 games in organized play, power level 4, so achieve some success. Probably won a prime, I'm guessing. I think that's the only way to get to power level 4 without chains.
Right.
Yeah, because I think top 16 at a vault gets you to 5. Okay. What do we have here? So we have 21 creatures in Soul Snatcher. I like that. That's going to be an edge to protect the board. Lots of interesting creatures here. 3 Infernuses will be disruptive to a lot of Dave's combos. I know Dave likes to play decks that have an inevitability aspect and rely a lot on good combos. So Infernus will be a card to watch out for here. With the Exhume, Vaftss will be able to replay that one. And E on the Fringes will be a problem against Caruso. I believe that's the only one of Dave's decks that has Dis. And in the Dis house, we have 8 creatures. So you have a scary board in and of itself there. Moving over to Logos, we have a bunch of Amber Control actions, which are very interesting. Information Exchange, great card. The Graft for the Scaling Steel. Good setup there with the 2 Eddies. Not much archiving support, so the Eddy here is a bit of a red herring. Maybe it's not a super high-profile target, but it can set up the Graft. Igor can filter Mini Group Think Tank. It could get you an Amber on play if you blow up one of your own creatures. You could blow up your Inspector, do something interesting with the placements here. In general, in Logos, we're just going to see some bursty Amber Control turns.
Yeah, you're going to want to be careful with that mini, though. If your Soul Snatcher is out, you might get some of your own, but you might also blow up some of your opponent's creatures and put them into check.
That's right. The Discombobulator could be pretty useful against the Rad Penny deck that we'll see later. Seismo Entangler I don't see doing much in this matchup because you won't be going into Logos that often, it looks like, from this list, just because of low creature count.
Right.
Finally, Untamed, Nature's Call, great card. Ghost Hawks give you some burst. Molefin, another anti-steal tech card. Fangtooth Cavern, I don't know if I like it that much here. Many low-power creatures in the deck. It can get you that sneaky check if you Fangtooth at the end of your turn with the Soul Snatcher. But I guess it's not a sneaky forge, only sneaky check because it happens at the end of your turn.
Right.
The Moorwolves, I think, can do some interesting board clearing, get you some burst. I don't see a lot of support for the Moorwolves, really. They're just annoying creatures that you have to take down, or they'll just reap. And
Moorwolves with the Nature's Call could make a really big play.
Yeah, you just have to be careful of the rule of 6. But
Right.
like, let's say you pull back even 1, then you could reactivate the other ones and potentially fight off something important.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it mostly as Soul Snatcher food, and then we have 9 creatures in Untamed. I think a wide Untamed board could be a win condition for this deck. So lots of tools here. It's an interesting board-based deck.
Definitely. Yeah.
Next up, we have Eventually Obtuse Inca. This is also power level 4 deck with 0 change, so probably got this through a prime. Another high creature count, 20 creatures this time. And was starting with Untamed, I'm seeing some serious burst potential with the Dust Pixie and 2 Nature's Call. Mighty Tiger can be picked up with the Nature's Call and destroy some problematic creatures. I'm seeing 8 creatures in Untamed. So again, we have a wide Untamed board and a lot of support for it. So the Nature's Call and Nocturnal Maneuver can shut your opponent off. And if you have a Witch of the Eye lock with Nature's Call, that can be a disaster in certain circumstances. Over in Dis, we have a really good set here. 2 Control the Weaks with Dance of Doom, Gateway, and Arise. So you clear the board and then you either Arise your people and or lock them into a pointless turn. With the Life Ward, you could be locking them out 3 turns because you control the weak, Life Ward, control the weak, and the board was empty because you gatewayed. That's the nastiest scenario. When you lay down Ember Imp and Shaffles, that's really putting your opponent on the back foot. They're going to need a lot of actions to deal with that because I don't think creatures are really going to be staying on the table much against this deck. And over here in Brobnar, we have a bunch of bodies. They don't look particularly interesting. I think they're there. They can reap, except for the Tireless Crowcag. Headhunter can get you some amber. I think Brobnar is just more burst and board clearing. So I don't think you're going into Brobnar over and over in this deck, but you can Gengar Chieftain, Headhunter, Blood Money, Anger to just get some big burst here. Actually, I'm not even seeing Amber Control in the Brobnar house at all. So if Dave has a Control the Weak, he could end the game. But I don't think he has Coded Disc, so we're not going to see that.
No, there aren't any in there.
Yeah, so I don't think this Brobnar hopefully gets it early. It cleans up the board and then kind of just goes away. But we'll see. Then finally, we have the Amberful Archivist of Cranrune. This extremely powerful looking list. Starting in Starlights, we have a lot of efficiency with the New Frontiers. Get some good cards into your archive. Maybe Logos to set up for a library card turn. Ambassador Lou can do some hand filtering. With Logos, when you discard a Logos card, you gain 2. Dis or Shadows, you steal 1. Discarding the Starlights card, probably wouldn't want to do that. You could just play it. But you can filter out some stuff in your hand that doesn't make sense, like Wretched Doll. Creature count here, have a lot of... I think we're seeing a theme among these decks. They have a house with like 8 or 9 creatures.
Yeah, and they all have... this is the only one with less than 20, and it's 19.
It's 19, yep. And as far... We're not facing... There's no Quixel in this matchup, so Vaftss doesn't have to worry about that. Like a Quixel Triad could present a big problem because only one of these decks has a way to take the Quixel off the board permanently. Like this deck has a Snudge in it, but after you kill Snudge, that's not happening anymore. And Snudge is slow. As an artifact control, it's slow. If it's all you have, like you don't really have a good artifact control, I don't think. But sometimes it can get you out of a bind, but I would not rely on that card to get you out of a Quixel Stone situation. So going over to Logos, lots of issues. 2 Demo Bots. If you destroy them, they're stealing. Ultra Graviton can be a problem. Purge some of the problematic cards on the other side, like Rad Penny or Eddie. Library card, very good. We talked about archiving Logos cards to set up a big turn there. Even Dimension Door can fire in this deck, which is not something that happens much. So lots of efficiency in Logos. It's an extremely good Logos house. No Amber Control out of hand, but with the board, you can do some Amber Control. Right. Then going over to Dis, Gleeful Mayhems that could blow up your Demo Bots, get value, or one of your less useful creatures. It could blow up your Hapless Cadet. They lose 3. Ouch. Mark of Dis. That's nasty with Gleeful Mayhem. Because you mark Gleeful Mayhem, and now they're having turn skip. Mindfire. It's a good card. It doesn't make the deck, but it's good disruption. Can remove a key piece of a combo. Dominator Bauble or Wretched Doll, I think, are the weaker cards in this deck. This house only has 3 creatures in it. And one of them is Cinder. So you're not going to be establishing much in dis as far as the board goes. And I think that will make the pain mails more awkward here. If you have a big board in dis, you can fire your pain mails over and over. But in this situation, only one of Dave's decks even has dis in it, and you don't want to call dis that much in this deck. So I think the pain mails may be a little bit overrated here. That said, it is 2 amber that goes back to your archives. It's pretty disgusting to destroy 2 creatures. So even if you call dis and you destroy 2 creatures and you get the pain mails back, that is not a terrible turn.
I will say the bobble could be pretty nice with if you've got Gravitron out. Using that on a non-logos turn could be pretty helpful. But yeah, and I think most of the time the bobble is not going to get too much work done. Yeah,
you would discard that to Ambassador Lu or to Ultra Graviton or something like that.
Yeah.
But if you could play, I mean, if it's in your hand and you call dis, you should play it, in my opinion. All right, so all in all, this is a pretty scary lineup. So why don't we take a look at Dave's lineup, and then we can see how this matchup looks in bans.
That sounds great. So, starting with the creature that screams at dreams. This is a Coda deck. Also looks like it must have won something big because it also has 0 chains and 6 power. So something serious happened here with the creature that screams at dreams. Logos has some efficiency to it. You've got the phase shift, you've got the wild wormhole, you've got the library access, which is going to help move things along. There's Effervescent Principle, which is always excellent amber control to have in your deck here. And you've got the Strange Gizmo is an interesting one here. I'm not sure if you play it. You've got some artifacts that you might want around in your other houses, and if you have, 15 creatures is kind of a lot, so you might not want to have everything blow up with the gizmo, but it probably comes down to matchup.
Mm-hmm.
The phase shift could be really interesting. Lots of neat cards to phase shift into, like a Too Much to Protect or a Chota, and end the game if Logos happens to be where you have your amber generation that turn. So definitely could be some interesting uses there. Shadows looks nasty. You've got a lot of stealing out of hand. You've got the Too Much to Protect with a bunch of additional ways to get that +1 after you put down Too Much to Protect. 2 routine jobs, the Urchin, the Miasma to stop the Forge, if that's the way you're going to go instead. There's also 2 speed sigils in Shadows. So you don't even need to necessarily have one of those many out-of-hand steals ready. You could just play down the Umbra and use that and steal that way. Or the Nabi. So lots of options. Shadow Self going to be able to keep some key creatures safe, including Nabi or the Hunting Witch over in Untamed. Taking a look at the Untamed house, this is a really gross Untamed house here. Nature's Call, together with the Dust Pixie and the Hunting Witch, you could generate just loads of amber in one turn there. 2 regrowths, bring back either of those creatures or the Chota for a Forge. You could definitely see forging at least twice in a turn with this deck because of the Nature's Call Chota combo. Generate a bunch of amber, play down your creatures, Nature's Call, pick up the Chota and play it again. And Nepenthe Seed, also going to work some recursion for you there. So yeah, this is a very, very strong deck. Not a ton of creature control. The one board wipe would be the Strange Gizmo there, which is not ideal since you can't really choose when to trigger it.
Yeah, it is nice to have that in a rush deck like this because you forge a key and reset, and then you try to burst to the end.
Yeah, and that could be a play if you have Gizmo in hand, you play it down, you phase shift into Chota, and wipe everything, and then you kind of reset for your next turn there. So yeah, this is definitely a very strong deck. Lots of stealing. You kind of get the idea that this deck wants to just ignore the board and try to steal and burst and key cheat.
Yep.
The next deck that we have out of Dave here is Caruso, Chef des U-Boots, which is a known deck. This is actually a deck that we've mentioned on the show before in our sealed Worlds Collide game. We talked about this deck. I'm very excited to see this one. I hope we get to see it played because it is such a unique and interesting deck that just totally turns the whole game on its head. The idea with this deck, you've got the 5 Edis and 3 Exhumes. So the idea with this deck is you play out the Edis, you archive all of the Brobnar, make your opponent's keys cost way too much, and then you just keep bringing back Edi with Exhume, use Tau to get even more of that Brobnar into the archive, and then, the expected amber is pretty low, but presumably you have the time to just slowly reap with the few creatures you have on the board. It does have 2 board wipes if you get backed up into a corner. You've got the Harbinger of Doom, which is a bit slow, but it's there. You've got Ragnarok. I don't really see a situation where you use this because you don't want to be calling Brobnar.
For emergencies.
Yeah, for emergencies. I was trying to think, too, when I was looking at this, if there was a situation where you would actually pull the archive and play out the Brobnar. There could be certain situations if there's a big board you're facing or something, but I think generally speaking, if you're doing that, you're probably things are not going according to plan.
Mm-hmm.
There is the Buzzle. So I have a deck that's kind of similar to this, far inferior to this deck, but kind of similar in that it has 3 Buzzles and a bunch of Brobnar creatures, and so you purge the Brobnar creatures with the Buzzles. That's the way I like to play it. So you could see the potential for that happening, but then you lose your Edi food, right? And you can't make your opponent's keys cost a whole lot. So it might work in a pinch if you need it to. I could see if you mulligan into a bunch of Brobnar creatures, maybe you play them out and then hope you get the Buzzle to purge them.
Yeah, I haven't seen Dave play it that way, but it could, if it lines up for some situation, for some reason he has to play Brobnar creatures, like he could purge them out. But yeah, you do want the Eddie food in here because if the game keeps going on, this deck is not fast at generating amber. So if the game goes on too long, eventually you run out of cards and he's forced to take his archives.
Right, yeah, if you keep playing back down the Eddie, you have to archive something every time you play it. So if they keep getting fought off, you run out of cards to put into the archive eventually, and then you're in a tough situation. So maybe that's where you do see the archive pull.
Yep, and the Hysteria to replay the Eddies. So it's very nasty.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Like, do you Hysteria the Eddies? Like, if your opponent doesn't have 6, you Hysteria the Yetis and then just play them again on your next Logos turn, so you can extra archive everything. I guess that would work, as long as you're not giving your opponent a key there for free.
Yeah.
On to the last of Dave's decks here. We have the Leader Who Laughs at Time. A pretty fast-looking Logos. You've got the auto-encoder, which is always going to speed up any deck. You've got Zizzy, Qmex, Lethalogica, Eclectic Inquiry, Sloppy Lab Work, which combos really well with the auto-encoder because you get to archive 2 cards and get rid of a card from your hand that you don't want. So that's great. Double standardized testing, going to be able to take care of some big creatures and keep the board under control a little bit here. The Shadows is really neat in this deck. I really like the look of the Shadows. You got 3 rad pennies and 2 bow knightings. That is just an insane amount of steel, and those rad pennies are going to keep coming back because there are 2 Fangtooth Caverns in this deck. So you could play down the caverns and then just keep blowing up your own pennies, and they go back, shuffle back, and you get to play them again. Francis the Economist, there's 2 of them here. Francis really gets no love, but I think with the amount of stealing that this deck has, Francis could really come into play in a big way. You know, the whole point of having a Francis is to give your opponent amber so that you can then steal it, and you could really see that happening here. A bit of a dangerous ransack. You do not want to be discarding your own rad pennies, but you could maybe find a way to try to play around it, or just discard it to the autoencoder, which is probably fine. There is a mug. I always love to see mug with capture, so that you can basically make it into a steal by capturing it onto your own, say a Francis or a rad penny, and then mugging it and getting that amber into your own pool. But no such luck here. Onto Untamed. You've got the double troop call with double Niffle Ape. So that could make for a lot of efficiency with the autoencoder. You know, you discard the 2 apes, troop call them back, discard them again, troop call them back, discard them again. That's, you know, potentially 6 cards you get to put into the archive there. So that's pretty neat. You've got a Key Frog with lots of ways to get rid of it. You got Fangtooth Cavern, you've got Savage Clash with lots of low power creatures, so you could take out the Key Frog that way. There's also the Growth Surge. So with the Key Frog, you could make it giant and then take it out with the Savage Clash. So yeah, lots of ways to do that. Yeah, I think that's about it for this deck. It looks like the game state you really want is to be cycling those pennies back again and again with the cavern, and just keep repeatedly stealing with them and blowing them up again at the end of your turn.
Yep, that can really get you ahead as far as amber goes, and the Seeker Needle will take care of the 3rd penny.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and get you an extra bonus amber too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's go ahead and hop into the game then.
So to recap, the strikes were made. Dave banned Inca, the eventually obtuse Inca, and Vaftss banned Caruso. And first off, we will see Leader who laughs at time versus the Amberful Archivist of Cranrune. So let's get into the game.
I am so upset that we don't get to see Caruso in action. I was looking forward to that. I was actually thinking that Vaftss might leave it because his bursty Coda deck, I thought, had a pretty good chance of taking it down there.
Yeah. I personally, I think he did have answers in most of these decks to the Caruso situation. So I don't know if that's the one I would have gone with, but we'll see how it turns out.
All right, here we go.
All right, exciting. We have Mass Mutation on Mass Mutation.
Mass Mutation on Mass Mutation. Not a ton of creatures in Dave's deck that Vaftss is going to be able to play Mark of Dis onto.
Yeah, a lot of them are low power, so that could be an interesting variable here.
Yeah. I mean, like, I was noticing before, like, the Niffle Apes probably get discarded anyways.
For the autoencoder.
Yeah. Well, way to prove me wrong.
He probably has a lot of Shadows cards. Wants him to have more Amber.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, he's waiting on some Amber generation. We do see an early discard on the Gravitron from Vaftss here, so he's not thinking that he's going to be able to get that together quickly. Dave managing to take out the Demo bot without losing anything. He didn't have any Amber yet, I believe, so.
No, he lost an amber
Oh,
there.
he did.
And
Okay.
he put a counter on the vine apple tree, so he believes he's not going to forge the first key. And I think Vaftss is going to play the board here, and then get set up, because if he tries to go for amber plays, it's going to get stolen.
Right. Yeah, and he's looking at Dave's. It's looking like Dave made the right call there, because he's definitely behind on the board. He is gonna lock down the reaping on the next turn for Vaftss there, so making Star Alliance a less desirable call for him.
Yeah, and he wants to get into a standardized testing and maybe a cyber clone.
Interesting choice, discarding the Quixo. What do you think he was thinking there? He's trying to avoid a Mark of Dis?
Well, I think that is a benefit, and also his Fangtooth can fire on one of
Oh, right.
Vaftss creatures.
Right, he would have just destroyed it otherwise, so that makes... Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so if Dave doesn't play any creatures, Snudge is not going to survive, and that's the artifact control. Okay,
Yeah.
Snudge not going to survive right now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, interesting.
Not sure why he did that.
Yeah. Did it? No, he didn't draw anything. That's interesting.
Yeah, maybe that will make more sense as the game goes on.
I always like to give the benefit of the doubt, but
Yeah.
I am not seeing why he did it that way there.
He might want to see Cyberclone go by. Sadly, he doesn't have an Infernus, which can really help shut down problematic cards like Cyberclone recurring over and over.
Yeah. Dave just discarding everything here. He is refusing to allow anything of his own to be destroyed by the Fangtooth Cavern, and he's going to be able to blow. It's paying off, because he's going to be able to blow up the Gravitron there with a Fangtooth Cavern, which is not something you see every day. A 10 power creature going down to a Fangtooth Cavern.
Yeah, no way. He really needs to find his autoencoder.
Yeah, he's a key behind. Well, he's got 3 amber, but he's unforged, and he really needs that. His opponent's gonna, I imagine, play a big board. We're gonna see here.
New Frontiers for Dis. Interesting. Because we were talking about in the review, maybe it would be for logos.
Right, to set up the library card. Maybe he just has a lot of logos in hand, and he wants to play that next turn. Oh, no, but he would still want to set up the library card, right? So, I don't know. Keeping 7 cards in the hand. So that suggests to me that he's got a mix. He didn't have like a lot of one house when he pulled that archive. Dave finally playing a creature, Rad Penny, so that he can then destroy it with his Fangtooth Cavern. Makes a lot of sense. Even still getting rid of the discarding the Francis, despite the fact that he still could have hit his opponent's creatures there. Really wants to leave room for his Fangtooth Caverns to do their work.
Yeah, it is making the pain mill awkward. I'm trying to see what the end game is here. He's turning off Mark of Dis, which is good.
Yeah. He's seen both of them go by right now, so he doesn't have to worry about those anymore. But yeah, he is now significantly behind on the Amber, a entire key behind, essentially. Finally playing down some creatures here. We've got Zizzy, although Zizzy's going to die. So I'm not sure why now was the time he chose
Yeah.
to
I think this
not
works a lot
discard.
better when you have the autoencoder.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you can just scroll up the chat and see how many times he discarded. He should have archived like 10 cards by now.
Yeah, and it's either in his hand now or in the bottom 5, which has got to be very frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Library card going off here. Let's see. Played 3 Logos cards so far this turn. No,
Yeah,
he
that
has
wasn't the
played 4.
greatest library card.
Oh, yeah, that was it. He is up to check on second key. So,
So you could play Rad Pennies to take him off, potentially, or just get autoencoder going.
yeah. He's got to have at least 1 penny. I mean, there's...
Yeah, that would be very unlucky
Yeah.
if it didn't.
If all 5 are in his draw pile right now. Or 3, excuse me. 3 out of the 5 cards in his draw pile were Rad Pennies.
And then the Rad Pennies are awkward with the Fangtooth because although they go back to your deck, you're not getting the creature control anymore.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's worth it, though. Like, especially when you're at the bottom of the deck here, you get to just keep cycling that steel, which is exactly what we're seeing. So we're just going to ping 1, I'm guessing, and then leave the other 2.
Bow Nithing. Ouch.
And a bow, yeah. Wow. So now, of those 7 cards left in his draw, 3 of them are Rad Pennies. So,
Yep. So this must be the end state. You just keep stealing over and over with the small deck.
I wonder if he has autoencoder in hand or not. Ooh, Hapless Cadet. Not going to be able to destroy it on his own turn here, though. So Dave is going to get his first key out.
Yeah.
More or less evening things up here.
Well, when you start to exploit the Rad Pennies and Fangtooth, then you're not controlling the board anymore.
That's true.
That's the downside.
That's true. And now we see that Vaftss has finally been able to grow his board.
So that was a nice stealing turn, but can he keep doing that with this board state?
Right. Which is probably what he's considering right now. I think now would be the time. Okay, he's going to go for the Untamed play.
Okay, he's checking the second key. Pretty good.
He's going to have to use 1 cavern to blow up his own bow, but then what does he get with the other one? Demo, maybe? No, because he wants to stay in check.
Yeah,
so he
quick
hits
so.
the quick so. Yeah. Leaving nothing on the board for Hapless Cadet to fight into.
Yeah, well, remember, this game is about getting Amber. The board state doesn't matter if you have the keys.
Vaftss is able to pull Dave off check there with the Gleeful Mayhem onto Hapless Cadet.
Right, but if he's getting more Amber, then we're just going to see he's going to repeat the stealing play. Like, this board is not scary at all. With
Right.
a Snudge and a Demo Alien with a Doom counter on it.
That's interesting. I guess he
There goes
figures
Snudge.
if he needs a steal and dis on the next turn, he's got it.
Oh, actually, no, he took out Demo Alien. That's actually a better play because that's his Amber control.
Yeah, deny the steal. That makes sense.
Yeah, Snudge
And
is
otherwise
worthless.
it would have gotten to the caverns.
So Vaftss in a lot of trouble. I mean, he has 3 Amber. It's going to get stolen next turn, I think.
Yeah, we know that Dave has 3 pennies. I think he's got another bow in there too. And
There is a second bow in the deck, yeah.
right. And he's got autoencoder either in his hand or archive. Pulling the archive. Yeah, here come the pennies. Look over there also.
Yeah,
And
where are
he held-
Vaftss' 20 creatures?
Right. He held the bow. I wonder why he didn't Secret Needle. Oh, did he hit the... Oh, he did. That's right. Okay. He hit the Garcia with the Secret Needle.
Oh, sorry. This deck only has 19 creatures.
Only 19. Yeah, Dave looking in a very commanding position here, really taking back control of the game. Yeah, this is impressive because he had to get to the bottom of the deck there, but now that he has, he's really in a good spot. Finally, we see the autoencoder. Standardized testing. We're denying use of Ultragravitron once again. That's the thing about those gigantic creatures. It's like it takes so much effort to actually get to play them, and then if they just get blown up by one card, it's really disappointing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this deck doesn't really have tools to deal with this combo. Whereas with the Marks of Dis, I felt he could deal with Caruso with this deck.
Right. Yeah.
Because you Mark of Dis in the Logos, destroy the Eddies and Forge. That's great because there's no Exhume. And I don't know, maybe he held another one in his hand or something, but I think you could engineer it to make it work.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So this deck's end game much harder to deal with, as we're seeing.
Yeah, especially without anything like some kind of Infernus to take out bows or something like that.
Right, and the other deck he has is a huge Coda Untamed Rush. The other deck Dave has. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if the Mass Mutation can hang with that at all.
It's going to be challenging. He doesn't have any key cost control. So, yeah, I think that might be tough. Yeah, Dave looking like he's in a pretty solid position to close out here. I don't know what Vaftss is going to have to take care of this.
Nothing. There's no scaling amber control in this set.
Yeah. Yep, that's the game. Game one goes to Dave. I wonder if autoencoder had been at the top of the deck, if he would have even gotten one key out. Because once Dave got those pennies, and then after flipping, put down the autoencoder, it was pretty one-sided.
Yeah, and as it turns out, it's hard to play more than 2 creatures per turn. So when you discard, eventually you Fangtooth most of their answers.
Yeah.
So Amberful Archivist looking like the weak link here. I think Caruso was the only deck this one probably could have beaten, but I don't want to call it early yet. We still have to play the game. And Creature that Screams at Dreams, it can go fast, but it doesn't have the creature control, as we noted, so may get flooded on the board.
Yeah. And, it was very impressive to see Dave just maintaining his game plan throughout that, just very disciplined discarding of everything so that he could keep the board clear. Just, I don't want any of these creatures, get them out of here. I'm just going to use the Fangtooth Caverns, keep the board clean, until I get to my end state, until I set up what I need. Let him forge a key, that's fine. Dig through the deck, find the cards that I need, deny the Mark of Dis, deny blowing up my own creatures to the Fangtooth Cavern. And yeah, it was very impressive.
Okay, so Vaftss switched decks here, and I think that is the smart move because in this league, wins matter in terms of tiebreakers. So if he stayed with the other deck that wasn't favored against the Creature that Screams at Dreams, then he could be giving up an opportunity to play a game.
Yeah.
So
And if
This,
Vaftss can get a key purge like on the Chota or Regrowths or Dust Fit Pixie or the Hunting Witch, like that could really cause some trouble for Dave.
Totally. I think the triple Infernus is going to be definitely going to be a problem. Creature has many pips and doesn't have great board presence. So
Vaftss discarded the Soul Snatcher with Igor on his opening play there.
That might be okay here, just because this deck is so fast.
I wonder if he felt like he had to, because Dave has a respectable number of creatures and a lot of burst on his own side, so it could have led to some issues for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I suppose he tested his matchup and realized you don't need the Soul Snatcher, or whatever he got with Igor was so good that he had to drop the Soul Snatcher.
Right.
So he played the Speed Sigil here. That is probably going to make Vaftss' deck better more than it makes your deck better.
Because there's more creatures, you think?
Well, more creatures and well, let's see. I guess they don't have great reap effects. But I think fighting and establishing a board could be interesting.
Right. Denying that key off the Enei there.
Yeah.
Keeping things pretty even. Dave has slightly more amber, but I think currently the superior board state goes to Vaftss. Dave taking care of that Enei though, so.
Yeah, and that Umbra Steel did not fire, by the way, because of the Discombobulator.
Oh, yeah, good point.
I guess he really wanted Eddie dead.
Right.
And so we have a too much protect on the Coda side, and we have a graft on the Worlds Collide side. So we'll see who blinks first.
Right. Yeah, the mind games are real.
Discarded Ghost Hawk.
And Fangtooth Cavern. He does have a superior board state right now, although the Ghost Hawk... I guess
he doesn't want to get hit with the Shadows turn. I mean, you could just play it.
Yeah, he doesn't want the too much to protect. Also, if he put it next... I mean, he could have put it next to the Igor, I guess. But you're setting yourself up for not being able to use the mini group think tank. Looks like Dave is happy to get a little bit bursty over here, going up to 9.
Vaftss took his archives, so that's going to make the Eddie play harder.
You're right.
I think we need to see some Infernuses. And with the Speed Sigil, he can hopefully play Dendrix or something, fight the Dust Pixie, and then purge it.
That makes sense, yeah.
But that's not what's happening. Probably his hand doesn't support it.
I wonder if we just see a graft here. Yep, there it is. So he's just going to get 2 from the graft, but puts him up to 7, but I am a little...
Ooh, EP.
Ooh. Yep, okay. I was going to say I was worried about too much to protect, but not anymore.
Yeah, and he was at 5, so it was a very nice graph there. Why did he put on the right? Doesn't he want to protect the Dew Fairy?
Interesting, yeah.
I guess he really doesn't want that Dust Pixie purged.
Does he have Nature's Call?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he's got Nature's Call, so maybe he doesn't want it to be Infernus food, like you said. He doesn't want it purged. And he wants to be able to pick it up and play it down again?
Yeah. I mean, I guess the only solution to this is 3 Fates.
Right. Yeah.
Because that thing gets purged. That is bad. That's the only Dust Pixie.
Yeah. Yeah, my instinct would be put it next to the Dew Fairy too, but I see the argument for keeping the Dust Pixie away from that Infernus.
Yeah, I think it's better where it is, protecting the Dust Pixie.
Library access for Dave here. Nice. Starting with the Bat Drone.
Oh, I thought he was about to do a lands. So yeah, this was a lands deck, and it's still really good.
It's still really good, yeah. Even post nerf, it's still pretty good.
But this discombobulator is really screwing him up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He didn't get the Neurosiphon. The Bat Drone is not going to work.
I wonder if he should have played the Archivist first. What's
right.
the fight here? No, he just reaped. So I wonder if he forgot the discombobulator and if he got discombobulated. Because, I mean, there's no real argument I can think of for not archiving a card. Unless maybe he didn't have the Archivist in hand?
Yeah, maybe.
Here comes the Infernus, taking out a Regrowth and a Miasma. So, yeah, two pretty key cards there. EE.
Yep, so he's stealing. And Too Much Protect is off right now. And from Shadows, he ain't getting rid of it. The Discombobulator.
Right.
Not with these cards. Yeah, there's nothing in his list that can take the mini groupthink tank off. This is a huge problem.
Nature's Call would get rid of it, but
in Shadows.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
So Vaftss is gonna forge this key.
Yeah.
Well, he could get hit with a life web here. Has that been played yet?
But
oh no, life web, it doesn't
still
work.
Stealing, yeah.
Ouch.
Just
All
because
it's
bad stealing that doesn't usually work. It's still stealing.
Yeah, my brain doesn't understand that it's an Untamed and to steal.
Is he gonna try to fight it down? No, he's just reaping.
Yeah, I would have tried to fight it down here.
Yeah. At least to have the threat of the steal of the Too Much to Protect.
Yeah, so if Vaftss threatens this turn... Oh, well, now the Strange Gizmo's live. That's something that can get rid of the Discombobulator.
Oh, yeah, interesting.
I don't know what he has in his hand, but I'm inclined to just get at least 4 Amber from the Untamed creatures.
Yeah.
And maybe more, if calling another house. But you could Infernus more. Right. We've only seen one.
He has a strong incentive to prevent Dave from forging here, because I think his board is... I think it's slightly better with the Discombobulator. He has more incentive to keep the board.
Yeah, I would say so. Is there a key charge in here? There is a Chota. So there's still the threat of a Chota to close the game.
For Dave, yeah. He could have a massive burst in Untamed, and stealing doesn't matter.
Correct. Very, very true.
But yeah, things would have to really line up for him to get there. I mean, he's got 7. Even if he forges on his next turn there. I mean, if he forges, he's almost in a worse position, because then he can't reap with the Dew Fairy and the Dust Pixie. And he can't Nature's Call the Dust Pixie. Oh, wow. Okay. So the Too Much to Protect gets discarded randomly.
Yep. So that's not good. Now Dust Pixie's gone.
Oh, and purged by Infernus. And Dust Pixie gets purged. Ouch.
Yeah, so the Speed Sigil, I don't know about that. Seems to be backfiring in this case.
Yeah. Of all the cards he could have gotten there, that was painful.
Yeah, so routine job can get you to...
If you can deal with the discombobulator.
Yeah, life web can get you to... I mean, well, yeah, that's just a given. He has to do something about the discombobulator.
Yeah, if he can Nature's Call, he can life web. But it won't trigger because Vaftss only played the one creature last turn.
Yep. So life web is not live. And I've not seen... I guess he can... If he had Nature's Call and Chota, he could make it happen by returning Mustic to his hand. Is that really great? Doesn't seem like it.
Yeah.
But he will fire the Strange Gizmo, though. That's a good thing about it.
He is going Shadows. Playing the second Speed Sigil, which does nothing. The sad Nabi has to reap.
Yeah. I think this board is a disaster. If the Chota option was available, I would have considered that. But maybe we can learn more about what was happening there.
He's pushing up to check, but it kind of doesn't matter if Vaftss is able to go to check here. I don't think Dave has many options.
Yeah, this Combobulator killed him.
Yeah. Pulls Dave off check and goes up to 8 here.
Yikes.
Increasing key costs with the Edai. Yeah, and ends on 9.
Yep, triple Infernus, double Eddy decks, just wreck Call of the Archon's Rush.
Mm-hmm.
So
you must pay attention to my board. Call of the Archon's Rush says, I don't care about your board, and this deck says, yes, you do.
Right. So actually, as far as bans go, like, I was considering this Pyralis deck because it can stand against all 3 of Dave's decks. It has the Poltergeist to deal with the bad artifacts, and the Infernuses. I mean, if you purge, getting Rad Penny to discard is pretty hard, but you can purge some other stuff that's important. Mm-hmm. And then you have the Graft in case Dave is going to crazy numbers.
Right.
Okay, so here's the Chota and the all this stuff, but it's not going to be enough.
Not quite. Oh, man. If he'd had a Regrowth in hand, that would have actually done it.
That's right.
Yeah.
But one got purged.
Yeah, one got purged.
So despite the lopsided game, it had a great burst at the end.
Yeah, that Untamed burst is real. It is something to be reckoned with.
Yeah, so Vaftss got a win, so that's good for his tiebreakers.
I wonder how different the game would have turned out if we had not seen the Discombobulator so early and so well positioned on the
Oh, that made the game, totally.
Yeah.
Like, he's still like 4 or 5 times with it.
Right.
All right, on to game 3.
So Vaftss is back to the deck he started with, to Amberful Archivist, and Dave is onto the Creature That Screams at Dreams. Oh, the same one he had last time. That's right.
That's right. So he has to win with this deck for it to exit. And we have good luck here in the Crucible. The preferred order of the players actually happen. And Vaftss is going first. Dave wants to go second. I think in this kind of rush decks, you just want to play cards as quickly as possible.
Right.
Fire your Gizmo, play more cards, Chota, and then win. And that's what I think is going to happen here. But let's not count Vaftss out. Does have a lot of good tools on the board in his deck. Let's see if it lines up.
Yeah, those Mark of Discs could be really painful against Dave's deck here. He's got a lot of creatures that he needs to play, and that are big enough to be hit by Mark of Dis.
Yeah, so it looks like Dave was in agreement that the Worlds Collide deck was going to be banned, but then he decided to do Inca. I think Inca is also a strong choice to ban. It presents a lot of problems for Dave's lineup with all the disruption in Dis and its own Untamed Burst. And I don't remember if it had a key charge or something.
Yeah, this is the primary reason why I'm bad at Triad, because it's like, oh, these all look good. I don't want to play against any of these decks.
I think Inca would have had some problems against Dave's Rad Penny Fangtooth deck.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, maybe they'll join us and chat about it. That would be fun.
Yeah, we could do that. Vaftss likes to start with a Lethalogica on that first little mini turn there. It's an interesting play. I feel like I would have started with the library card. And
yeah, especially if you have a Lethalogica in hand. But that's all right. So Hunting Witch is still alive.
Yeah, that could be a problem. It seems like maybe he didn't have a way of dealing with it, so he's just going to play his turn anyway. But Dave's got a lot of creatures in, especially in Logos, so potential for 2 or 3 amber just off the playing creatures here.
That's right.
Nice to see Nepenthe Seed out early.
Yep, we remember this deck only has Snudge, although Speed Sigil can make Snudge better as far as artifact control goes.
That's true.
All right, we're seeing Logos just getting amber here.
Yeah, just value. Probably, I wonder if he has some big Shadows cards he's holding.
He might have a double routine job. I mean, if they were Shadows creatures, could have played them. But yeah, that turn didn't seem productive at all.
Yeah, if the Hunting Witch hadn't been out, it would have been a pretty, quite uninspiring turn. Interesting.
Okay, took the Murmook.
Okay. Because
the follow-up.
Yeah, follow up with the testing. That makes sense.
Nice. This is the KFPL, man. They got some plays here.
Oh, Snudge is in the discard. I think it got played by bot. Is that what happened?
Yeah, it
plays this Snudge, yeah.
That's unfortunate. I mean, I think Snudge is kind of important. Also, that plane at Escatera could have set him up for a nasty mark. So, what is Dave cooking here?
Yeah, that's true. He is up to check for the first time here. We'll see if Vaftss has an answer for that. I don't know what he has other than Garcia, so maybe we'll see that.
We've got Scout Pete, your favorite card.
Yay. Oh, and he gets to decide whether to discard the same card twice.
Yeah, well, I guess he liked it because he didn't discard it.
Apparently, he didn't discard it twice, so there you go.
Yeah, I could have reconsidered the second time. Like, I don't like it, actually. I saw it again and I realized it's not cutting it for me.
Wait a minute. Trigon is actually terrible. Let me discard that.
And then, yeah, he got Scout Pete. But that Demo Alien could have fought and you see more cards from your deck.
Yeah.
Like Scout Pete. And it could help you rearrange the Scout Pete better.
That's true. Yeah, you could have fought with the Demo Alien and then put whatever you want to discard on the top, and then played.
Oh, so yeah. Sorry, I called it Demo Bots, Demo Alien. You're right.
Dave getting another crazy burst in here. Does he have the Chota? Yep. There it is.
So I guess it was equivalent to play Dew Fairy first. All right.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
This is a huge problem.
Yeah. Vaftss is in a tight spot here. Taking out the Hunting Witch is the right call, but if Dave is holding Nature's Call right now, no, he would still need some pips to close out the game at this point. But it's tough.
Nature's Call. Reap, go to 5. Play Dust Pixie Chota.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Yeah, that would be it.
Actually, Reap would go to 6. Okay, so he must not have it.
Yeah. What's he going to Shadow Self the Dew Fairy this time? Yeah, that makes sense. There's that routine job.
I think we're just going to need to see repeated marks of this to get back in the game.
Yeah, lock into shadows.
Yeah.
Dave's probably just digging for the Nature's Call, or just...
Oh, he played both of them.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I would have not have done that.
It might have been good to hold one there.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe there's just not enough in this. There's no creatures in this.
Well, he Gleeful Mayhem'd it anyway, so he wouldn't have been able to hit it on the next
Also,
turn.
has he played too much Protect yet? He might just get fleeced here.
Oh. Yeah, I don't see too much to protect in the discard. Dave's obviously going Shadows.
Okay, so he doesn't have it, but he's going to steal 3.
Still pretty good.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, going up to 7.
Okay, so marking the shadows is our advice sucked.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yep.
Vaftss is able to forge here, but he's gonna need
Well, Lou will get you one more. Yep. Yeah, to use this Nature's Call goes. Scout Pete has got to fight Chota right now.
And there goes Trigon. He chose to reap, though.
Yeah, so either regrowth or Nature's Call. See, if Chota were dead, it would have to be regrowth only.
Yeah. Maybe that's what he... I mean, yeah, that does make it slightly better to fight. And since he wasn't going to check anyways, I think fighting might have been the right call there, but...
Yeah, we're probably going to see the... I don't know, it doesn't even need Chota, really. It's just getting so much Amber.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty hard for Vaftss to stop him, even if he can't replay Chota here.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously would prefer to if you've got it, but yeah, so sitting on like 11 Amber.
Run all over Mass Mutation that they need in Furnace here.
Mm-hmm. Garcia, not quite going to be enough here. Okay.
He's got it, yeah.
Together with the
he's
the
still
Jorg.
kicking.
Gotta stop.
And how many cards did Dave play last turn? Like 1?
Yeah, I think he only played the Life Web.
Life Web and Ancient Bear. So maybe he didn't... Okay, he must have gotten his Nature's Call by now. Sorry, he didn't must have, but now he's going to go to a huge number. So who cares?
I think he's got.
Oh no! Here we go. Yep.
Yep. There it is.
GG. Nicely played.
Forging that last key for 10. Yeah. That was a fun series. That was very neat. I was happy to see the Infernus get some work done against that Coda Rush in the second game there, but yeah, Coda Rush is still very difficult to deal with, especially if you don't have Infernus.
Okay, so should we give him a call?
Oh yeah,
man, Dave.
That was something.
That was a excellent series. Thanks to you both for letting us record, and good playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So walk us through the ban logic. Maybe we'll start with Dave.
Sure. So I got a spreadsheet where I kind of went through and tried to decide what I was going to ban ahead of time for each of the matches in before I test or anything. For each of the matches in the group stage, and I was originally planning on banning the Worlds Collide deck, the Savagely Abandoned Pyrolysis, and I was going to leave Inca and the Archivist, right? And I was pretty sure that Vaftss was going to ban Caruso, because I think most people are going to ban Caruso.
Not a bad call, yeah.
I think that the right ban for him would have been Leader in this case. But, yeah, so my thought there was that Leader's probably not going to lose to Archivist or Savagely. And Inca's the only one, Inca's got the best chance of beating Caruso in there. So if the ban went Leader, then I'd be happy to have Inca banned. But if Caruso is banned, I kind of already feel pretty confident, because I think that the Mass Mutation deck is too slow to outrace the Creature That Screams at Dreams, and then you kind of just saw what Leader does. So basically, I felt like if Caruso got banned, I would be fine with just Archivist being the weak link. But if Caruso didn't get banned, I didn't want to have to deal with Inca.
Gotcha.
And then also I realized last minute that Savagely only has 2 Eat-Eyes to archive. There's nothing besides the Eat-Eyes, and that made me significantly less afraid of it. Because I was looking at the Eat-Eye IG stuff, and that stuff's always annoying. I'm sure you've seen Devin's deck, Cardath, and just other decks like that. It's just a brutal combo, and I just don't. I was I don't want to burst with a creature against that, but then when I realized you can't get the Eat-Eyes that high, I cared less.
Yeah, I think the only recur on that would have been the regrowth, right? So
the one exhume.
To get it back. Yeah, one exhume. That's right.
For Pyralis, the recursion is Nature's Call, regrowth, exhume.
Right.
And I mean, it's surprising you focus on the Eat-Eyes, because the focus for that deck when I play it is the Infernuses, right? Is just pick my opponent's deck apart piece by piece using the recursion on the Infernuses rather than the Eat-Eyes.
Yeah, and obviously the Infernuses are good against... I felt like that one was going to be the best one against Creature for sure, because it's the only one with artifact removal. Same with Leader, I guess, which is why I was going to ban it at first. But I felt like, given how proactive Creature is, that the Eat-Eyes would be what gets me there. Whereas Leader, you can purge whatever you want, but if you don't have a way to get rid of the artifacts that are in play, the Rad Pennies are going to keep shuffling back, and I don't really care if my whole deck is Rad Pennies.
Yeah, I noticed that the Pyralis also had a Poltergeist in it, which could have helped a little bit.
For sure.
Yeah, we were saying the Pyralis was a very strong choice to go against Creature, because just and the way that Vaftss, you were able to pick apart the key pieces of Dave's deck there to help you close out the game. Although it was still pretty close in the end with the...
I made a mistake not killing that Dew Fairy. If your last card in hand was your second regrowth, I couldn't even recall if you had the second regrowth, but if it was the second regrowth, that was game.
Yeah.
I realized it as you were playing that turn. I'm like, oh god, I should have killed the Dew Fairy. That's going to be the game.
Well, I'm glad I put on a
Counter
show
rush.
for everyone.
Yeah.
Even though I had nothing. I was just like, do I play it out or do I just scoop? And I'm like, let's give them something to watch.
It was entertaining because I mean it was still quite close. So
So Vaftss, what led you to ban Caruso?
So, in my lineup, Pyralis is, in my opinion at least, my strongest link. Inca's good, but I believe that, like, in a matchup between Pyralis and Inca, Pyralis comes out ahead. So, I talked to my team, and we all sort of agreed that, like, that's too many Edis, that's too many Exhumes, it's just too much. And then when you factor in the Neutron Shark loop with the automaton or whatever it's called, the one that sticks around, you're just not allowed to have creatures. Caruso was just too much. Saying that post game, honestly, the whole lineup was too much. In testing, Amberful, like Dave said, Amberful's the weak link. It's just Amberful can beat creature if it gets lucky and like the pieces are out of alignment for Dave, but Amberful cannot beat leader without the luckiest of lucky draws and sequencing. That became pretty clear in testing, but if I'm assuming I'm losing Pyralis, I think Pyralis is the only one that can take out Caruso. So Caruso had to go, assuming Pyralis was going.
Gotcha. So in testing, how did Amberful do against Caruso?
I locked in a Caruso ban pretty early, so I didn't really test against it.
Got it.
Just because I had played enough with Amberful that I saw where that match would go, and I was just like, I'm banning it, I'm not dealing with it, let's not waste time testing. Mostly because this was bad timing for me. I've had a very, very busy week. Last weekend I moved cities. This weekend I've been dealing with a new job and settling into a new apartment. I had Dungeons and Dragons yesterday, so I had next to zero time to test, so I locked in my ban and tested against what I would be facing.
Gotcha.
all this real life getting in the way of the important stuff.
Yeah.
I was thinking like Caruso might be Amberful's best chance to win, but yeah, you know the deck a lot better than me. I thought like, okay, maybe you could do something with Mark of Dis and to lock out the Exhumes, bringing Eddies back and sneak in keys, but it seemed like a stretch.
I think in Inca, the Control the Weaks are going to be stronger than the Marks of Dis, because you can't really Mark of Dis me into Brobnar, because I just would not play a Brobnar creature in that matchup.
Yeah, and during testing, like the Marks of Dis are so dead against leader, it hurts. Like that matchup is so bad.
Yeah, we were noting that there are very few cards that you would play in leader that could even be hit with Mark.
Yeah,
I mean, you just don't play creatures. Sorry, Dave, go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was going to say, yeah, the only one that I would willingly play and not discard is like the Zenza Zenzik, which half the time will just die at the end of my turn after drawing the extra cards,
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Sorry, what were you saying, Vaftss?
Oh, it's just like leader versus Amberful is such a mess of a matchup. It's just a mismatch of decks and what they're trying to do, and it's in leader's favor 100%.
Yeah, that one looked very tough.
Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of my thinking with the deciding which deck to ban. Really was just kind of Caruso's probably getting banned, but like if that's the case, then I think the other two can beat Amberful.
Yeah, it's so fun to watch Triad and see all this if this then that thinking when deciding which decks to play, and even the ban can significantly affect the outcome of the match.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, Dave, from your previous experience playing Caruso, do you think that it's more or less always going to be the auto ban?
I would say not. Well, so the only time I played it in a Triad before this was Worlds. The Shadow Worlds, I mean, and it got banned. I have that information somewhere. Yeah, so it got banned 71% of the time.
Wow.
And then 129% of the time. Sultana got banned twice, I think.
Interesting.
And I think that's a regional metagame thing. Like, I noticed that when Sultana was getting banned, it was against a lot of like the European players, specifically Italy. Like, because I know that like that style of deck is like very popular, at least in buy sell trade. I always see a lot of people in Italy trying to buy styles of decks like that. So I think that it's kind of like valuing that sort of deck higher than worrying about the meme of 5e dice.
Right.
Which is very good, but you know, it's like it's easy to like kind of overlook the shark thing, right? The shark thing's what makes the deck.
Yeah, the auto shark combo is really strong.
It's what one of my teammates was telling me. In going back and forth between banning the Coda deck or the Worlds Collide deck, they just kept reiterating that the shark synergy is just so strong that if you're not playing a specific style of deck, it's going to lock you out pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the Infernuses, you could deal with it, but if you were assuming that deck was going to get banned, I don't think your other two decks had Purge.
No.
Yeah. Like Inca could sweep and then like control the weak, or like sweep and life ward.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you know, that's one way to do it. But Shark can hit the life ward, and then the other stuff's just got to line up, right?
Right. So yeah, this was a very high level matchup. Great, accurate gameplay. It was a fun to commentate and watch. So thanks for letting us do that.
Cool. All right. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you for having us on, and it feels good to hear you say as much. If I'm upfront, I'm relatively new to playing Keyforge at this level. It was mostly local stuff before, but COVID sort of forced me to get into this online sphere, and so it's been an interesting journey to say the least.
Well, you definitely you put on quite a good show. That was definitely impressive gameplay. So
Yeah, and I wish you luck in the rest of your rounds too.
Yeah, if I'm honest, I'm conflicted wishing you luck. On the one hand, I want to be a good sportsman, but on the other hand, I'd rather not see you later and have to repeat this.
Fair enough. I mean, if you think this was bad, just wait till you go against Ugluck, okay? Just say it. Like, holy crap.
Oh, goody. Thank you.
Yeah, look at that when you get some free time. Or don't.
No.
is he in your same group?
Yeah, he's in that group.
Oh boy, you got a rough group.
I mean, they're all rough, right?
Yeah, I'll wait till I'm matched. I'm no point in making myself worried before the appointed time. But no, of course, I'll wish you luck and good forging.
Thanks for talking, guys.
All right, thanks everybody.
Yeah,
Bye.
Thank you.
Well, that was an excellent game. Thanks to both Dave C. and Vaftss2. It was very fun to observe, very fun to commentate. You've been watching Cull the Weak presents Keyforge Premier League. I've been Brobnar89.
I've been Shaka.
And we'll see you next time.